Welcome back to another session. So we'll get started here with taking the derivative using something called the power rule. And what we're going to do is we're simply going to take the derivative of some function using the power rule. So let's say, for example, we have f of x is equal to, let's say, 3x to the power of 4. Now the power rule states that we multiply the coefficient by the power. And how we're going to do that? We simply observe what the coefficient is, which is 3, multiplied by the power, which in this case is 4. 3 times 4 gives us 12. So our derivative, which we write as f prime of x, is equal to 3 times 4, which is 12, x to the power of, taking the power, which is 4, minus 1. So therefore, the derivative of 3x to the power of 4 is 12x cubed. And that's how you find the derivative of a function using the power rule. Now, what if our function was a little more difficult? Let's say, for example, f of x is equal to 1 over 3 times x to the 1/2. Now notice the power right now is 1/2. But remember, the rule doesn't change. The rule is simply that we take the coefficient up here and multiply it by the power. So right now my coefficient is 1/3. I'm going to multiply it by the power. Here, I'm not going to use an equal sign. I'm going to say that f prime now is going to be 1/3 times 1/2 x to the power of 1/2 minus 1. Which tells me that the f prime of x is going to be 1 over 6 x to the power of negative 1/2. And that's how you find the derivative of our function, which is 1/3 x to the power of 1/2. Now, this is just a personal preference, but usually I prefer not to leave a negative exponent at the end. So what I do is I can go ahead and say 1/6 times, and remember that any x to the power of a negative exponent is going to be 1 over x to the power of 1/2. Which is 1 over 6x to the 1/2. And we know that x to the 1/2 is going to be just square root of x. And that's just a very simple way and simple review on how to find the derivative using the power rule.